What is up, friends, YouTube motorcycle enthusiasts? Accelerate here with another video in the fitness series. So this footage here is of me riding solo in a pretty technical section. This is the first time I went through that section, and I was, this video is not a few years, but I would say at least 6 to 8 months old. And this was pretty technical, and frankly it was pretty challenging for me. And what I want to make this video about is finding a way to build a training program or a training plan, however you want to word it. So, we're at this point to the fitness series where we've kind of talked about, in my opinion, 3 of the main physical staples for rider fitness. I haven't got into nutrition or sleep or breathing or any of that stuff, which I do plan to make videos about. But we're to the point now where we can start taking, the mobility, the strength, and the cardio aspect of fitness and kind of start putting together a training plan. And I also wanted to make this video, frankly, because I myself have devised a training plan by doing a lot of research, and things have really started to develop, especially as I started to do some racing. Obviously I made the video that I wasn't going to race this season for SEER, and I've ended up doing 2 races just because my carpal tunnel surgery, the actual surgery has taken longer to get the surgery date completed. So nonetheless, it's coming up really soon, but I wanted to ride as long as I could manage my symptoms. And frankly, my training, my diet, my sleep, and a lot of this stuff, this program that I've developed, has really kind of helped me be able to still ride and do these things as I move forward. So that's what I want to make the video about, how to build a training plan. So if you guys look at your daily week, everybody's week is the exact same, and what I mean by that is we all have the exact same amount of hours in the day. Now everyone is different in the fact that your hours are probably not the same as everyone else's as far as your free time. Everybody's free time is different, so everybody's training plan is kind of going to look a little bit different. But I want to get into what my training plan looks like. So the staple to my training plan has recently began with mobility. And as I've said many times before, mobility is the foundation to strength, mobility and flexibility. And to me, it's extremely important. In fact, it is one of the main things that has made me more athletic and more injury-free as I've gotten older. So I literally start my morning or my workout, which I do my workouts in the morning before I go to work, every single morning with a 10 to 15 minute mobility routine. The specific routine that I do, I will put down in the description. It's extremely basic. I can go, if I rush through it, I can probably do it in about 5 minutes, or if I take my time and really focus on it, I can probably, I'd take about 15 minutes before I actually do the latter part of my workout. But nonetheless, I have to say mobility has been huge for me, and it's one of those things that I just started committing to doing a set routine, and I just happen to kind of luck on to the routine that I'm doing. It's been extremely effective for me, so I would encourage you guys to just look at mine and then develop your own whatever areas that you may need focus on. And the last thing I will note about the mobility piece is you'll see that Saturday and Sunday it's up there as well, which I don't work on Saturday and Sundays. I have the weekends off, but I do still do it every morning, whether it's an off day or whatever the case may be. I've gotten into a really good routine of waking up and doing my mobility routine, and then maybe taking a little bit more time to do some static stretching and foam rolling as well. So the mobility has been huge for me, guys, and I can't state it enough, especially for you folks out there that are a little bit older. It's been a game changer for me. So next, let's talk about one of the other videos that I mentioned, which is building strength. And I do strength exercises, and I have gravitated towards kettlebell exercises. I do have a small home gym. However, I do also have access to a large traditional gym as well. But I like to work out at home, and most of the exercises that I have begun to gravitate towards with kettlebells, which trains the posterior chain, aka back, hips, hamstrings, and things like that, I'm able to do at home. So you'll see Monday, Tuesday, I have an off day, and then Thursday, Friday. So that's 4 days a week. Now, if something happens, I'm unable to do those strength days. Obviously, things move around. But again, I will also post the strength routine that I do down in the description so you guys can see it. You know, they're just like my strength video. I'm not going to recap it, but just to say, you know, with strength, it really comes down to compound movements and building strength. The stronger you are, the better. You know, you'll be easier to move the bike. It'll be easier for you to move, and not just one time, but many times. So that is my strength routine 4 days a week. So the next piece we talk about is cardio. And with cardio specifically, my cardio kind of fluctuates a little bit depending on how I'm feeling. Some days I will replace those 1 or 2 of those strength days with a cardio day, depending on how I'm feeling, whether I'm really sore, whether I had an awesome riding weekend or a race or something. And the reason why I say that is because we really need to be doing a fair amount of zone 2. And zone 2 has been proven for endurance athletes. Just like I kind of mentioned in my cardiovascular or cardio video, it's all about the talk test, right? Being able to have a conversation with someone while you're doing cardio. Well, what that equates to is your zone 2. And to get super scientific, as I've learned more since that video, it's actually when your lactic threshold or lactate threshold is below 2 millimole, which equates usually to us being able to just have a casual conversation while we're either doing a brisk walk or whatever. Now, the key with this is my strength training, as I monitor my heart rate, is my zone 2. So my average heart rate is almost always within, right in the smack dab in the middle of my zone 2, which is great. And I actually work, as I'm doing my strength routine, I make sure that I don't take too long of breaks. As my heart rate starts to drop, I try to get back after that at next exercise, as long as I'm recovered enough. So zone 2, expanding endurance, very, very important, which I do with my strength routine. But again, if I'm sore or whatever the case may be, I'll pass, or overly sore, I will pass on the strength routine, and I will do, I'll replace that with a basic zone 2 session, pedal bike, max trainer, light jog, whatever the case may be. So lots of different ways to do that. The key with this also is, with cardiovascular, is we want to improve our VO2. And that's where we get into like a lot of people that do HIIT and interval training and threshold training and stuff like that. So I do put a VO2 training day in my plan, and that is in the middle of the week. So it's not hard set. It does depend on how I'm feeling, because a lot of people get really, with your training plan, a lot of people get really pulled into, well, I got to go fast and hard all the time to get better. Which, if you start studying triathletes and just athletes in general, even sprinters and guys and gals that are doing lots of different variable heart rate type of competition, that's not really the case. They do VO2 training when they need to, but it's not all day, every day, multiple times a week. It's all based on their stress levels and recovery. So for my age, I do a singular VO2 training session a week, and that equates essentially to 4 minutes of as hard as I can go to ping out that heart rate, and then 4 minutes of rest, and I essentially do 5 rounds of that. Now, what is the exercise? I have a Bowflex Max Trainer that works really, really well. You could literally do kettlebell swings, sprints, bike, it doesn't really matter at the end of the day. You're training your cardiovascular system, not necessarily the muscles for your lactic threshold. So the VO2 is very important, and it's one of the things that I strive to do, which is increase my VO2 to get into the elite level of fitness for my age. So that is how I train my cardio. Moving forward into actual bike training. So as I've mentioned many times before, I'm an average Joe. I'm a weekend guy. So at the end of the day, I have a day job, and that requires me to spend 8 to 12 hours a day at work, 5 days a week. So what that equates to really is I'm not able to train on the bike as much as I would like. However, my trials bike has enabled me to really get sessions in, focused sessions, which I gotta admit, guys, it's really been fantastic for my growth. So as you guys can see, I try to do a trials session of about 30 minutes to an hour, 3 days a week. Now again, that's not hard. The Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, it's not a hard set. If I'm not able to do it, if I have something going on that evening after work, then I don't necessarily get to do it that day. Then I'll just move that day forward. Or if I don't get 3 sessions in a week, it's not the end of the world, but that's my goal. I try to strive to get 3 sessions in a week. And of course, the big bike once a week is also always my goal. I am blessed, and I have enough acreage here at my own home. I have about 5 acres of woods that I've been kind of like putting together a enduro course, hard enduro course. I can kind of run hot laps and practice my skill set. I'll do a separate video on all that jazz. I'll show you guys my track and stuff, but at the same time, I just want to articulate, for me, it's a little easier to do that. Now, as far as trials goes, guys, I gotta say, for folks that live in town or even have a small yard, it doesn't really take much to have a trials area. You can literally practice many different skills in a 10 by 10 trials area. Even static balancing in your garage, frankly, on the big bike or your trials bike, is time well spent. So, if you don't have the time to necessarily, maybe you don't have a trials bike, get on that big bike a couple times a week and do static balances in the garage. Try, engine on, engine off, so on and so forth, in the backyard and things like that. So, there's lots of different things we can do. But nonetheless, I have my trials bike, so I try to get out there and get on it 3 times a week, as well as riding my big bike. Because at the end of the day, the big bike is what my goals are for racing hard enduro. Alright guys, so finally a few notes about all of this. And I kind of alluded to this earlier, is essentially this is a fluid setup for me. It's fluid because my program, if I'm been stressed, if I haven't been eating well, if I haven't been resting well, or if I just started doing some of these new exercises that completely smash me, that's where this all needs to be adjusted. And what it really comes down to is if you're not stressed, your body's not stressed mentally, physically, you're well rested, well fed, and well trained. Those are the keys for progression. And that's really what our training program is supposed to be doing, both physically, mentally, and skills, frankly. Those are really what we're looking for. It's what professional athletes, when they're going through training camps and things like that, that's what they look for them as well. And they try to control all that in their environment. Obviously, we can't completely control our complete environment, but what we can control is our training program. So keep things adaptable. Some final notes with this, again, this is just what I do. Everyone has different goals. Maybe people have the ability to do trials or big bikes every evening. That's honestly, frankly, that's how a lot of younger people that are still in school, kids, so to speak, ride and get really good because they spend a lot of time on the bike, a lot of seat time. Maybe your cardio is extremely lacking, so you would try to do more zone 2 and less strength based. Maybe your strengths, you're just in a maintenance phase. Whatever that is, at the end of the day, is a lot of us, everyone's different, and we're going to have different goals. So I highly recommend you guys to experiment with it. And what comes down to is being a student of the process. And what I mean by that really is just listening to your body. And data is one of the best things that we can do, and I'll probably do a separate video on this as well. The modern watches, basically any kind of smartwatch and heart rate monitor, and just basic journals of how you do, how you feel, whatever the weight you lift or whatever your time is, or maybe a hot lap if you're able to run laps in a particular area. All of that comes down to data that you can track to see if you're really getting better. There's really nothing worse than kind of like beating your head against the wall because of something that you're doing is not effective. So be a student of the process. And as we all know, consistency is the key. And at the end of the day, we have to have priorities. A lot of people aren't able to do as much riding type of training or anything like that than others. Just, we have different life priorities. So, it's a balance in all things. But nonetheless, I wanted to show this to you guys and kind of talk about this training program or building a training plan, really, and what I have done. So, I hope this helps someone out there. Hope you guys are able to get out there and get on 2 wheels, ride a dirt bike. This is Accelerate once again. Signing off.